Well, I do not remember seeing these the last time I was here. Looks like a 2, 4, 5-seater side-by-side with a bed. Can't tell. Yeah, it looks like it's hinged, so it's probably going to be a dump bed. There's a 2-seater with a dog seat in the middle. Green one is your 5-seater. There's your 2.5-seater. 4x4. There's a green 2-seater. Let's look in here at the driver's seat. So you've got a 2-wheel, 4-wheel option, gauge cluster, headlights, blinkers, park and brake, and then your low, medium, high, neutral, reverse range there. Looks like it's got vinyl seats. This one may be used. See some imperfections in the seats there, and you can see they may have just slapped that steering wheel on there just for the time being for moving it and getting it jostled around here in the parking lot. Little dump bed. If you deal with bags of feed or grain at all, from left to right here is about the length of a 50-pound bag of feed, and you could probably go 3 side by side in here if that gives you some reference on the size. And then height wise, you probably could stack them 2 deep, and you probably still have some room in there. Not a bad size bed for this thing. Looks like it's got a bolt-on roof. You could easily take it off if you wanted to. Got what looks like hinges and latches here on the front, and you could put the windshield down, I would imagine. I don't know that for sure, but that's what it looks like. I imagine the doors are easily removable, kind of like a Jeep. You can see this orange one here. Got the winch on the front. And then the green one down there has got some shiny tires. The orange one's got some blacked out tires, and then this green one's got some shiny tires. So it looks like you've got options and configurations on accessories and the configuration itself, all your attachments, and how you want it to look and function. Of course, me being me, I'd go with the smaller 2-seater, smaller bed. I don't know that I would do the winch. I definitely would need 4-wheel drive with the hills that we've got. If any of y'all want to send me a Christmas present, this green one right here would probably do the trick. Let's look at some other stuff on the lot. They had these last time I was here, and I'm gonna tell you what, that thing is just a beast. Big old grapple on the front of it. Thing is huge. Closed in cab. Looks nice. These buckets are monstrous. That's a big bucket. Good grief. That thing will hold probably 2 or 3 times the bucket of my tractor. Open cab. And here's another one. And then here's another closed in cab. Then you start in with your tractors here. All right, so you've got the 25. Yeah, 2510. You got 2510s. 2510s, lots of 2510s. And jumping up, 3520. I've got the 3510 SE. This is a 3520. Looks like it's got different tires than what I've got. Let's take a closer look. Different pedal configuration. Completely different pedal configuration. Wow. It's got forward reverse up here on the dash now. 1, 2, 3, 4 range. High, medium, low. There's your loader stick. Looks like it's got some third function valve buttons on there. Other than that, it looks pretty standard. You've got your PTO on and off, rear hydraulics. The back end, yeah, there's your rear remotes. I do love these adjustable links on mine. That whoever came up with that was brilliant. That makes a world of difference. All these adjustable links on the back makes it so much easier to hook up to attachments. Oh, look at that. I don't know if that's showing up on camera. That's plastic. If you look at mine, I've got a piece of plywood zip tied on there, because what happens with your exhaust and your fan motor in here blowing back, it blows all the heat from the engine right back through here, right into your leg. And of course, when it comes in here, it hits here and just swirls around and makes that cab super hot. This here, big time difference. And now I can't get in there because these buckets are together and I'm not going to step over them. But it's also got a piece of plastic here on this side. You got one here with your skinnier tires on there, road tires, right? So crops, low crops, beans, soybeans and such. Got skinny tires to get in between your rows, do your work. They've got several of those. 3520s, we're still in the 35 horsepower range here. Now we're gonna move on up. And you can see the difference in height here between the two. So we go from a 35 to a 4710. And it's just a completely different setup altogether, right? You've got side markers here on the front, a bunch of gauges here, a bunch of rocker switches, extra pedals. Some of these are gonna be shuttle shift. Some of them are going to be hydrostat, which is what I've got. You can see you've got your rear PTO up and down, your rear hydraulic lift and such, loader arm, differential lock down here on the bottom. Let's see what it's got on the back. This one's got the arm in the back to control your rear hydraulics, which makes it even more easier to hook up your implements. Set of rear remotes here. Boy, that's a good looking tractor. So we're still in the 47s. 47s. This is a 55. Now it is a smaller body than this one here, but it's a 55. So, all right, so salesman was trying to come out and see if I needed to buy me a brand new tractor, which I do not. I told him I'd like to have one with a cab, considering it's about 40 degrees out right now. We're up to the 55s here. So it's a smaller body tractor than the one we just looked at here, the 47, right? So the 47 is a taller tractor, but up to 55 here. Pretty much the same config on the back. Does not look like there is rear remotes on here. And then we're down to the 2610s here, trying to squeeze in what they can of the lot. So that's a 47. And then we're going to jump up to the big boys. Good grief. 73. 7320 power shuttle. You can see you've got extra pedals in here and such for shifting. Got your low, medium, high, neutral. Looks like 1 through 4 on the handle here. And this is a big step up. You can see you get your compression capabilities here. Big old lift arms. Good grief, the size of those lift arms. Wow. I do like, and what I wish mine had, and I will probably aftermarket it here in the near future, some rear lights. I'm probably going to add a whole lot more lights to mine in the near future. With it getting as hot as it does during the summer, I just about have to mow at night. I mean, it's just brutal, right? You're trying to mow in June, July, August, even into September. Down here in the southeast, it can be 100 degrees and 90% humidity, and it's just miserable. And you're sitting on an old hot tractor. So I will probably do some lights here on mine in the near future and probably do a little bit more mowing at night. So this is going to be a wash, rinse, repeat of what we just looked at, although it's a smaller tractor. I see it says 6620. The one over there was a 73. This is a 66. And so we're coming back down in size here. This is 4710s, 4710, down to 5020. And if you notice, you've got different tread patterns here, difference between your Ags and your R4 tires. I do like, and also what I wish mine had, was this fuel tank down low. Mine sits up behind the seat, right? And so at 8 pounds a gallon of fuel, if you put, I think it holds 5-6 gallons in there, right? You're looking at 50 pounds or so, way up here high. And with my property being as steep as it is, that weight up here can make a big difference. Whereas if you had it down low here, of course, that's going to lower your center of gravity quite a bit. Even that 50 pounds can make a difference. So frame-wise, this looks like a smaller tractor, but you can see it's a 6020. So it's going to have a pretty beefy engine in there, full cab. So on the back, this is something we haven't looked at, right? So you've got your wiper fluid reservoir, rear remotes for hydraulics. You've got your lever here to raise and lower your linkage. This one does not have the adjustable arms on it, right? If you can see, these are fixed, whereas the other ones had the clip you can push down and they'll slide in and out. That's interesting. You would think if on these tractors, if they go through the trouble of putting in some of these things to raise and lower and line it all up, they'd go, you know, the full length here and put the adjustable arms on there. And in fact, none of these have it. Now I imagine you can probably, at time of purchase, make a request and have that put on, or buy them aftermarket like this and put them on, right? So if you push this down, this whole thing will slide out, and it'll slide, I don't know, maybe 4, 5, 6 inches or so. That adjustability makes a big difference. We've got one in here. It's got a tan colored cab in it. Cloth seats, whole slew of buttons in there. Imagine some of those are going to be some fancy climate control. I see a speaker up there in the top. And this is going to be the RX 7340. Looks like it's got the big Ag tires on it. $73.40. That's another $73.40. 73s. I think these are all going to be 73s. That one on the end may be a bit bigger. At least it looks it. HX 151. So this is significantly bigger. Well, I bet that tractor is $100,000. Good grief. Something like this is not for the weekend warrior or even the small homesteader for sure. This is going to be your full-time farmer or ag company of some kind that's making a full-time living and then some in the tractor or using the tractor to do it. Got a full range of rear remotes on here. Wiper reservoir. You've got plugs for things like trailer lights if you're having to transport down the road. You've got rear lights to help you see when you're having to hook and disconnect implements. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Boma Light Yanmar engine self-leveling loader, 22.8 horsepower. Got a couple of stand-on mowers here. And you got some good padding in here. Kawasaki engines. That's interesting. And a good sit-on mower here. Zero turn. Love my Ironcraft flail mower. Ooh, it's warm in here. Hey there folks, Brent here for Pastor's Farm. Welcome back to the farm. So now that we have had a fun visit, window shopping at our local Kioti dealer, we've got some work to do. Filters, fuel bowl, and there's a pigtail in here for the fuel unit that senses water in the fuel. So several months ago, I did some work on the tractor, and at some point along the way, developed a small fuel leak, and I think it was due to using the carb cleaner on it, honestly. I had used carb cleaner on another product, and I forget exactly what it was, but it caused the plastic to get soft or even a little mushy and lose its form. And I think that using the carb cleaner on the plastic bowl and pigtail on this is what's caused it. So I got new pieces to replace that, and we're gonna get into it here. Let's go. Now, I have intentionally left this fuel tank as empty as I possibly could for several months now, knowing that this was coming. Whew. Well, the good news is I don't see any half-eaten acorns or walnuts or hickory nuts in here, so apparently the local critters have not taken up winter residence inside the engine compartment of my tractor here. So let's get into it. Now, I did get a new fuel filter, but this filter is only maybe 20 hours old, probably not even that. All I've done is mow one time with it. Yeah, it'd be close to somewhere between 12 and 20 hours, I guess. So maybe 15, 18 hours at the most. Although she looks like she was holding fuel pretty good. I honestly expected this thing to be completely out of fuel by now. Makes me wonder if I even needed to replace this thing. I went to put the new pigtail on the bowl, and it just spins and spins and spins. It doesn't tighten down in there at all. So I think it's going to be the threads on our bowl are the problem. And this thing is not easy to get off. Forgot that I had these in there. All right, let's try this again. This thing is not easy. Oh, yeah. Well, I was not going to replace the fuel filter initially. We've got some dents in it here. Somehow, somewhere along the way, it's gotten dinged. I don't know what's going on with it. I see, man, there's a lot of dents in it, so we're going to actually go ahead and replace it. I don't know if it's damaged the inside. Maybe it's caused it to be kind of egg-shaped or oblong. We're not going to take a chance. We got a new bowl, new pigtail. I've got a new fuel filter, so we'll put that on. Hard to get a hold of. Definitely is not easy on my bad wrist, that's for sure. All right, so off camera, what I had to do here is use this one to hold my filter, and then I use this one to very gently, so that I didn't crack the bowl, get leverage with it, twist it on. And I think we are as far as it's gonna go. Let's get it installed. Now, I don't know if y'all can tell or not, there's a button right here that's used to prime this whole system, right? So if I were to put this on there, I could push that button 10,000 times and get fuel to pump to fill this up. Here's the alternative. We're gonna go ahead and put this together. Just screws on. tight, but don't strip. There we go. All right, so the downside to doing this is if you've got a leak, you're gonna end up with fuel everywhere, but I've already got fuel everywhere anyway, so shouldn't make much of a difference. Well, all right, so we're not quite all the way full. It's about right here, just below the surface. So I think we should be good. Let's get it screwed on. The hard part is getting it screwed on with this pigtail already on there, because there is a bolt that sticks out that it likes to catch on. Now this pigtail has a nipple that comes off. If I have water in the bowl, I can just unscrew this a little bit and it will seep or leak out of here, and I can drain the water out, drain this whole bowl, tighten it back up, push the button up there a couple times to reprime the system, and I'm good to go. That's how this thing is designed to work. I have always had problems with the sensor saying that I've got water in my fuel. And it could be fresh from the station into the can, right into the tractor, and it'll throw that error. Now, here's the strange thing. Sometimes, if I get that error, and I just simply shut the tractor off, pop the hood open, and let the engine cool, come back and crank it up, it's just fine. Do nothing to the fuel, but just let the engine cool off, and the error goes away. So I've always questioned whether the original pigtail was bad. I'm hoping it was just the pigtail and the sensor in here, because if it's not in this piece, that means it's somewhere in my main wiring into the computer, and that's a whole nother problem to contend with that I'm hoping is not what we have to deal with. All right, so I think we've got everything on, plugged up, cleaned up. Well, not plugged up, but we're about to plug it up. Screwed on, cleaned up. There we go. Let's give it a go here. Go underneath. And this thing is always a pain to get apart. Historically speaking, apparently it's a pain to put it back together now. There it goes. Now this thing has been sitting for several months. The only time it's run is to move it from over there, about 25 yards away, to here. And it's been sitting since deer season at least. So let's track down the keys, see if we can get it fired up. Now from a fuel perspective, I think we're pretty good here. I don't see any leaks, drips, or drops at all. Fuel looks good in the bowl. No leaks up around the gasket, on top or below. And no error on the dashboard. Good. Is it perfect? No, it ain't supposed to be perfect. I just need to be able to see my trees in here. We're gonna make some adjustments between the deer, using them as rub trees, and the neighbor's cows, making them look like Charlie Brown Christmas trees. Look here, this poor little old stop. They are definitely in need of some TLC, but I've got a solution for that. Now we're gonna move the trees we've got in the ground, and then up here in behind the camera, I've got, I don't know, 6 or 8 more trees to get in the ground. I bought them back in the spring and I've just had to water them all summer to keep them alive, waiting on the dormant season here so I can get them moved in.